Liberty Theater is in a wonderful position because they can acquire the adjacent building, which we are calling the Rig Building. Jim Rig owns the building. It's been an antique store for many years. And we can put all of the day-to-day functions into that building, including a main entry area that would have a 16-foot high ceiling that can be used for presentations like the current room that we're in today. It can be used for rehearsal space. It could be used as a cafe. It can be used for community outreach without having to open the Liberty Theater. Or you could have a performance going on in the Rig Building while you have a performance going on concurrently at the Liberty Theater. So it has lots of functions. But wait, that's not all. That's just one of the spaces in the Rig Building. Then we could have an elevator in the back of the building that takes you up to the mezzanine level and the second level of the Rig Building. On the mezzanine, we could have restrooms. We would have restrooms at the ground floor level as well that would serve the entire Liberty Theater. The restrooms at the mezzanine level would serve the Rig Building and then the upper level of the Rig Building. And at the mezzanine, we would also have space for a balcony that would look down onto the performing space of the Rig Building. And then the third floor of the Rig Building could be offices and classrooms, which you need to have for any sort of performing arts space where you can do rehearsals, you can do little small lectures, you can have meetings of the board and other interesting groups and so on. All of it ADA accessible. The Liberty Theater would be largely ADA accessible, but we could not get an elevator to the balcony level. But the Rig Building would be ADA accessible, handicap accessible, disabled accessible to all levels of the building. So this is another very fortunate thing for the Liberty Theater.
I think one of the most fun things is when we go downtown Bend in the evening and all the lights, especially the chase lights, are on the marquee, and you see an event happening and you see all the people coming and going in, and then afterwards they're not rushing to their car, they're strolling around and seeing what the street life is going on, and what's happening there. And it's fun for us just to go down and watch them, see, especially when they're all dressed up. It's nice.
The Liberty Theater has a small direct impact, and what I mean by that is that there will be employees, there will be rent, there will be costs and so forth associated with the actual operation. But the overall economic impacts are really indirect for the community. Well, why would businesses downtown support this? Why would a shopkeeper 2 doors down say, hey, it's a great idea that we should have the Liberty Theater? It seems maybe indirect at first to a shopkeeper, like, well, does it really impact me? They're going to be a theater, and how does that impact me? But it's interesting how people's behaviors are. If there is a sense that there is something happening, there are significant things, that there are activities, that there is vibrancy, it's interesting how the number of people on the street, the foot traffic on the sidewalk, the participation by the community is enhanced. So a shopkeeper or any business owner would see this and should see this as a real advantage long term, because it brings light to their business when someone walks by to go to the theater, or someone recognizes that there's another business in town that they might just happen to walk into their store as a result of the Liberty Theater being open.
I have become more of a believer than even when I started out. And what I see, especially with some project like this, a theater project, it brings people into the old downtowns. And the way our towns have developed is from the downtown core out until you get to World War II era. And then all of a sudden you start getting automobile-dependent growth and development. And as you know, everything changes and your focus is no longer on your core. Theaters are typically in the downtown core, and they bring people in who usually are looking forward to a nice afternoon or evening, and they might be leisurely there. They want to look around, they want to spend some time, stroll around. So it becomes a catalyst for a new type of user in the other buildings.
You simply want to have a vitalized downtown. It is the core of what identifies a community, is to have buildings that are populated with active and productive businesses and activities. And so the community, just for its aesthetic purposes, needs to have the Liberty fulfilling its historical vision as why the mortar and the bricks were put up in the first place.
The restoration of the Liberty Theater really is creating the living room for downtown LeGrand, and also the living room for this entire region. It'll be a place that people will remember forever, having gone to this wonderful vaudeville house, historic building over 100 years old. Once you've been to a performance there, you will remember it. And that is the thing that creates a sense of community in any regional or any big city. When you go to that special place, whether it's Carnegie Hall, whether it is Kennedy Center in New York, you will remember this theater like no other place in the Pacific Northwest because of the incredible beauty of the setting of LeGrand, because of the historic resource that you have in the downtown and the surviving buildings. And this is really, the Liberty Theater is the jewel in the crown.